What's going on, guys? It's your boy Coop from Coop Gaming here, man. Bringing you a video that I've been planning for a while now. Anybody that knows or does not know, I play the Dragon Ball Super card game and wanted to do my first deck profile for a deck that I've always loved to play. A little background about me outside of athletics. I do love card games. I've been playing Super since its release, so going on almost 4 years, and I always enjoyed the game. I'm more of a casual, competitive type player, but I just like to put my deck ideas out, and hopefully someone watches it and they enjoy it and they give it a shot, and then they can always let me know how it goes for them. But who I'm bringing you today is Lord Slug. He's probably my favorite leader outside of Hit, Yellow Hit. Lord Slug is from set 4, and he has an activate main. Once per turn, choose one card from your life, add to your hand. This card gains crit for the turn, and his awaken is when your life is at 4 or less. You may draw 2 cards, flip them over, and you go ahead and flip them over. When this card attacks, draw a card, activate main. Once per turn, place one card from your hand in your drop. Your opponent chooses one card from their hand and place it into their drop. So this deck is it's hand destruction. I know there's a lot of hand destruction decks. They do take a little while to set up. So it's more like a mid-range, late game control type deck. I love the deck. With the format how it is right now, the format slowed down. There's no turn 2 kills anymore, thank God, because it was rough. It was definitely rough for a lot of decks out here. And I think with how the meta is shaping up right now, some older leaders, there's some room for them to maybe, creep in and slide in and do their thing. So Slug could be one of those guys that comes back into the fold and represents green, because we need more reps in green, because green just isn't doing so well right now. So we're gonna have to be the guys to change that. So also make sure, if you like the video, a lot of content that you see, or if you want me to make other videos, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to your boy. Really trying to focus more on just content that I love to do, just period in general. So if y'all like what you hear and what you see, make sure to leave a like and comment down below. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get to the deck. So I'm gonna basically go ahead and kind of give a small breakdown of the archetype of the deck, basically packaging and things like that on what the deck is supposed to do. So the deck revolves around Slug's army, as you can see the tag down here. So a lot of the cards in here will be Slug's army card, basically the core of the deck. So that's what I'm gonna go over for you guys. All right, so leader aside, to assimilate, this card is great as a searcher for the deck. It costs 0, so it doesn't cost anything. Activate main, choose one green or yellow to make a card 2 or less from your deck, add it to your hand. Card is a star, even at 2. Card is great. Next, we will go ahead into the core of the deck. Wings. I run Wings as a 4 of. Wings has barrier, and he has a permanent. You may only have 1 Wings in the battle area at a time, and you reduce the energy cost of all Slug's army cards in your hand by 1. So Wings is the star. You definitely want Wings turn 1 every time, because without it, the deck just plays on curve. We run 2 Lord Slug Return to Form. When you play this card, choose one of your Slug's army card from your deck with energy cost of 4 or less, add to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. Self-explanatory, just goes in and filters, find pieces that you could be missing, and adds them to your hand. And I'll go over basically the concept of all of it once we get later on into the video. We have 4 Adonic Warrior Anguilla. I love this card. All right, so it has crit and bond 2. So you're gonna have at least 2 Slug's Army cards in the battle area to get the bond effect. When this card attacks, if your leader card is a Slug's Army, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and places it into their drop. Now with this deck being a hand control deck, and you want these discard effects from your opponent's hands, just getting this on attack and them ditching the card is great. You can't beat it. A lot of people hate the Anguilla. We are running 4 Lord Slug, Agent of Destruction. When you play this card, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand, place it into that drop, and he has to activate main once per turn for a green. Choose up to 1 Slug's Army card from your hand with original energy cost of 3 or less other than this card itself and play it. Big body, 20k. He does a lot of work from the drop, and once he sticks on the board, he's very good. Now we got Lord Slug Young again. Has a bond 2 effect as well, 20k, 5k combo. When you play this card, if you lead the card is Slug's Army, so y'all can see the theme. Choose up to 1 Slug's Army in your drop with energy cost of 3 or less and play it. Then choose 1 of your energy and switch it to active mode. So this is the clutch guy. This is the guy you want to see multiple times in a game if you can recur him. MVP. That's why we're running him at 4. Great. And finally, we are running 1 Lord Slug Monstrous Muscle. Now, this is some of the new cards that came out later on in sets. This card came out in set 12. I feel like it can make this deck, you know, a little bit more potent. It does have deflect and double strike, which is great, and it is a 30k body, so it's nothing to sneeze at. So when this card is played, choose all your opponent's battle cards and KO them. Then choose 1 of your opponent's unisons and remove 2 markers from it. And he has an auto once per turn. When your opponent activates a counter attack skill, your opponent chooses a card in their hand, chooses 6 cards in their hand, discards the rest. Then you and your opponent draw a card. So the auto once a turn isn't really a big deal because we're going to be ripping so many cards out of their hand. They're not going to get this effect much. And then drawing the card is still decent. Doesn't matter if both of you draw a card. If you're drawing a card and, you know, their hand is small, doesn't really matter. Basically hitches for the 30k body and the board wide. All right, so now we're going to go over the Unison Packages. So, running 4 Demigra. This card is goated. I don't even know how this card made it to be just an uncommon. So he has a permanent. When this card would lose a marker from your opponent's attacks, you may add 1 card from your life to your hand. He has a +1 activate main. This card gets plus 10k power for the turn, and then he has a -3. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, KO it. Then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards. Energy cost 3 or less, ignore and bury it, and KO it. So this card has been a star in basically any green deck that you could ever play. I wasn't running this in the previous build, and I felt my deck sputtered a lot. I think with this just being a threat on board and being a self-awakener if they attack him as well, pairing with the leader on the front side being a self-awakener, this card does wonders. All right, and then we run 1 Vegeta, Resolute Agent of Destruction. This is another board wiper for the deck. He has double strike and crit. He has an auto. I can choose 1 card from my hand and discard it. When this card is played, choose all your opponent's battle cards and go and bury it and KO it. Now this card is just, it cripples a lot of people. So a lot of these decks that go wide and you drop this on turn 4, they have no way to interact with it. It'll definitely hurt you. He has a +1 activate main. He gets 5k power for the turn, so usually on swing, he'd be a 25k double strike with crit. So nothing to sneeze at. And then he has a -5 activate main. If your leader is an evil wizard card or all of your energy is mono green, choose 3 cards in your opponent's hand and discard them. So the -5 is just late game. You know, if you ever get to that point, you need the -5 and rip 3 cards in your hand. After all the damage you've been doing with the deck, you know, by all means, do what you need to do. and then still getting a 20k swing double strike crit. So card's really, really good. Definitely good as a one of. All right, so some of the tech cards that we have in the deck, we are running 4 of the Rebrand Punishing Passion. His activate being for 2 green. If you leave the card as green and you send this card from your drop area to your warp, your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hand and place them in the drop. So with this being a hand destruction deck, you want to just draw as many cards from your hand as you can. Good late game. That's why we're running it as 4 of. Then we are running 3 Frieza Charismatic Villain. This card is a staple in green. It's a counterplay card. You may activate the counterplay. You can't activate the counterplay skills of other cards for the turn. Play this card from your hand. Permanent when you have a green Unison with 2 or more markers in play, you can activate this counter skill basically for free. And then when this card is played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards. Energy cost 7 or less and KO it. So, great spot removal for most headache cards that your opponent's going to be playing. Energy cost 7 or less. It's just a good card. It can disrupt any type of chain, mid-range decks, combo decks, things like that. I ran as a 3 in the main list. Running 3 Majibu, Adulterated Malice, another counterattack card. If your leader is green, negate the attack, then you play this card. And if you play this card, choose one card from your hand and discard it. Your opponent can't attack for the turn unless they choose 2 cards from their hand and discard them each time. The Union Absorb and once per turn effect does not apply to this deck because this card would be for the Majibu deck for that portion of the card. Basically the green Topo, for anyone who knows Topo. If they want to keep attacking, sure, fine, attack away, but you're dropping 2 cards from your hand. 9 times out of 10, this card will make your opponent halt their turn, and then you can set up for the next turn and just rip cards away from them. So, card's great. We run 2 Kakunta. Shout out to my boy Reed, put me on this card. The card is pretty good. It's a counterattack, negate the attack, play this card. And then if you leave the card as green and it's your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost of this card from your hand by 2. So it'd be potentially it'd be a 2 cost. And then when this card is played, choose up one of your opponent's battle cards to KO it. So this can hit big boys. If it has barrier, of course you can't touch it, but this really has no restriction to targets outside of barrier. So I run this as a 2 of, and it's a 20k body. So not bad at all. We run 1 Homicidal Clones. If we're sitting at 5 life, this card is great. Counterattack if your leader card is mono green, negate the attack and play 1 meta token, and then that token has blocker to the end of turn. If your life is at 5 or less, you can activate the card counter skill from your hand by adding 1 card from your life to your hand instead of paying the cost. So, if you're in a pickle, you're tapped out, and you're at 5 or less life, you can use this card without paying the energy cost and get yourself close to awakening. So, run it as a 1. All right, super combos. All right, so I run a split of the Great Saiyaman Vanquisher. This is basically the budget Paragon super combo. If your leader card is green, your life is at 4 or less, and all your energy is green. This card is used in a combo against 10k combo power for the battle. Then you may choose 1 card from your hand, place it at the bottom of your deck. If you do draw 2 cards, it's good. Draws your cards. That's what you want to do in this deck, just to draw all your pieces. I run as a 3, and then I run Lord Slug, Mighty Agent of Destruction as my last super combo. The super combo, it has unique, so it can only be played 1 copy on the board. It has an auto when your opponent activates a counterplay skill, they choose 2 cards from your hand and discard it. So this card was a card I honestly forgot about when I first built this list, put this list together, and really forgot how good it was. It's so versatile and there's so many ways, I can get this card back, search it out, things like that. So It's definitely great, and we'll go over it. The card's good, so I'll run it as a 1-up. Might change the split. Run 2 Sales Earth Destroying Kamehamehas at 2. Has an activate battle. Leader card's green. Choose one of your leader cards or battle cards against plus 15k power for the duration of the battle. And then if all of your energy is green, when you activate this card, choose one card in your opponent's hand and send it to this drop. So just more, you know, you can use this offensively, defensively, basically any way that you would want to use it. Rips a card out of their hand and 15k. So great card at 2. Then we run 2 apes. You know, ape's simple. Activate main for 2. Since card from drop to your warp, draw 2 cards. We want to draw cards, as many cards as we can in this deck. I run 1 FDC. Everyone knows what FDC does. FDC is usually what seals games for majority of decks, even that being a 1-up. Gives a card or your leader card or Unison 10k in double strike. So it's usually a closer for most decks. We run 1 Demon God Demigra, Dark Overrealm. This would be the only way you want to play it for 2. When this card is played, use an Overrealm or Dark Overrealm, draw 1 card, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and sends it to the warp. And he has another auto. When this card attacks, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and sends to their warp. Ripping their hand more and more, and it's a 30k body. And then finally, our secret rare, since I don't have the Kai, I run the ape in this deck. I think late game, this card can be very sneaky. I don't think a lot of people would expect it. Auto, if your leader card is mono green, and you remove this card in your combo area from the game, when this card is used in the combo, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and KO it. And he has an activate main for 5 green. Play this card from your hand, and it gains dual attack and triple strike for the turn. So, card's pretty versatile, honestly. You can use it in a last-ditch effort if you feel like your opponent is going to try to dip their hand for game, and they're pumping all the combo power into 1 card, 1 battle card. You can always pay an energy, use the card in the combo, use the auto to remove it, and then pop the guy. So does a lot. Or if you just need the big boy swings and you're feeling yourself, and you want to play this guy, I mean, a 40k dual attack triple strike is it's pretty wild. Very budget card for green. I do like the card, so we run it here as a 1-up. All right, so that is the main board. So now we're going to go ahead and go over the sideboard. Now the sideboard is subject to, to your meta in your area, things like that. So you can always adjust it from there, but this is kind of just how I made a sideboard for mine. So running 2 Shock and Death Ball, counter attack, lead card is green. To get attacked, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, energy costs 2 or less, and KO it. And then he has a permanent sparking 5. So if you got 5 in your drop, you can take a life and then play this card without paying the energy. Just simple. The card used to be good. Not as good anymore, but might see some play. Meta Cooler Unison. Card was great. I was running it as a 4-up in the main, but that made my Frieza charismatic villain wasn't as powerful anymore. Activate main once a turn. Leader card is green, mono green. Play a Meta Cooler token. Has a +1. You may choose 1 card from your hand and discard it. If you do, draw 2 cards, which you want to be digging for cards. And he has a -4 activate main. Play 3 Meta Cooler tokens. I think this is good for these control matchups. Just having options of more guys to swing on the board, and it helps you dig through your deck to find the answers and the pieces that you need. All right. Now this is a little spicy tech because I'm a competitive casual player, so I don't have all the money cards, but it's probably been one of my favorite cards from set 4 is Kami's Power Piccolo. I love this card. One, it has barrier, and it has double strike, and it has bond 2. And now it doesn't specify what it needs to bond with. As long as there's another battle card in the battle area on your side, you get this bond effect. But he has activate main, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. It's just gone. No matter how big it is. Like it gets popped. Running as a one of, I think this card would be very good in, you know, control matchups. When they're looking for 1-2 cards that they're looking to stick to the board, you know, you can always play this guy and then pop it. And, you know, he has a double strike. And it's going to be hard to kill him because he has Berry. So 9 times out of 10, we won't even swing with this guy. He'll just be there just to pop things. One focus breakthrough. Another counterplay. Lead is green. Your life is at 4 or less. Battle card being played has an energy cost of 3 or less. It's placed in the drop instead of being played. It's good tech for, you know, turns 1 through 3. If you know there's sticky cards that you don't want around, like Black Mass saying the 1-drop, you know, keep that green energy open, use the focus breakthrough. A lot of cards that this can target in that 1 and 3 range. So definitely a good call. The fourth, charismatic villain, you know, just because there's a lot of things on the board you want to get rid of. You got the fourth one. Then we have 3 of the Zwin the Loyal, Slug's Army, blocker. He plays for free. You have a Lord Slug card in your battle area or leader area. So this card is a free play since we run the Lord Slug. So I run it as a 3 just because. Pretty Black Hole is another counter attack, negated attack. Then you may choose one of your battle cards' negated skills and place it in the owner's drop. And if you do, draw a card, then choose any number of your opponent's non-token battle cards with a total energy cost less than or equal to the energy of the card you place in the drop with the skill and KO them. So this can be a mini board wipe for 1, and you get to draw a card. Card can definitely, later on in the game, you know, playing the 4-drop slug, if you need to pick off, you know, 1 and 2 drops, things like that, card can definitely be good for you. Another tech card that I do like is the Lord Slug Thwarting of Plans. It does have the Slug's Army tag, so it does get the reduction cost for with wings, so it is potentially a 2 cost. It has deflect, bond 2. If you lead a card as a Slug's Army card, when your opponent uses a card in the combo area, you may place that card in the owner's drop area. If you do, you and your opponent draw a card and negate the skill for the turn. Basically, you just want this just to eat a combo, especially against blue-yellow right now. This card would be great just to disrupt the arrival of the Bojack. So basically why I put this in the sideboard alone, just for that. And then when this card is moved from the battle area by an opponent's skill KO, if your opponent has 7 more cards in hand, play up the 1 green Lord Slug Army card with energy cost of 1 for your drop. So chances are we're never going to get to that auto, which is okay because I'm going to rip their hand apart. So we're playing this for the first auto. Very good card against blue-yellow. Blue Impulse. Lead card is green, and you have a green unison in play. Reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1, so it'd be potentially a 1 cost. Activate main. If your opponent played a battle card this turn, choose all your opponent's battle cards and KO. So this is another tech card against a rival. Things like that, red, green, blue, yellow. Definitely a good tech card for that. And then finally for the sideboard, we are running 2 max power Kamehameha. It's another counter attack, negated attack. You may send 4 cards from your drop to your warp. If you do return this card from the drop to your hand, and you can activate copies of this card for the turn. This has an activate main. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards and energy cost greater than the current energy and send it to the warp. So this is definitely good against, once again, a rival, blue, yellow. You know, this is good in certain situations now, especially against like a rival, things like that. And then being able to have the option to get this card back from your drop to your hand by just removing 4 cards to the warp is pretty good. All right, so that's the sideboard. So I'm gonna lay out real quick, basically with the deck the deck wants to do, what it relies on to be the most efficient. So as you can tell, it's a chain deck. The slug package is basically what makes the deck, right? So you want the slug package and wings. So this package you want wings. Assimilate is goated for the deck. So basically the concept, you want wings turn 1. That's who you really want, because what wings does, it makes all of these guys, including some of the sideboard tech, reduce the cost by 1 from your hand. So you'd be playing this for 1, for 2, for 2, and for 3. So wings is big for us. Assimilate is one of the MVPs for the decks because it searches out the Lord Slug return to form. If you don't run into your wings, things like that, you'd want to search out your Lord Slug return to form in order to get a wings from your deck. So usually if wings drops turns 1, everything kind of stays on the curve for what you want to do. If not, it gets a little sticky if you don't see Assimilate or the Lord Slug return to form. My phone was full, so I record from my iPhone, trying this out for this video. So this is what you basically want to see. Turn 1, turn 2, and you have many options for turn 3, turn 4, just depending. Usually on your turn 3 play, having wings out, you would want to see the 4-drop slug, which is by youth. So basically hand in hand, what this deck does for you, especially on the backside, you would ditch the agent here, and then replay it from the 4-drop slug. So you would get it from the drop, it would play, they ditch a card from hand, or if you need to and you're trying to put a little pressure with damage as well from that life, you can get the Anguilla back since it has crit, and the effect is basically the same on swing. So the 4-drop is very important. You want to see that on curve with either one of these cards here, but wings is like the star. You want to see wings turn 1. The other options for the backside of slug is basically you would want to see the rebrands. You want to see rebrands. So for the activate main effect, you ditch rebrand. So they ditch a card for you ditching a card, and then you pay 2 green to activate rebrand for them to ditch 2 more cards. So they would basically be ditching 3 cards in the hand for 2 energy. That's why I run it as a 4, because it causes problems. And then apes as well. You know, you can ditch it for them to ditch, and then net yourself an additional card basically, because you would pay 2 and draw 2. The deck is pretty simple. There's certain things you want to see on turn 1. You either want to see wings or you want to assimilate on turn 1 so you can start digging through and finding your pieces for the deck. The Unison is basically in here just to, you know, have another target to attack with, you know, early in the game if you don't see wings. But wings is the target that you want to see. Matchups for slug. I think control decks would have a hard time because he rips a lot of cards. I know a lot of people play Cell Surge. Cell Surge is a good deck. You know, it's just not my speed. I've never been the meta player, so you know, going back to slug and him being able to rip cards with his backside and still being able to draw cards on swing, and you know, abusing the basically the Lord Slug package is I think it's pretty dope. And I think now with the meta slowing down, it can be very useful. Blue is tough for everybody. God Similar Technique is a thing. It can definitely it can definitely hurt you. So if you go for, you know, the 4-drop slug, you know, on turn 3 or turn 4, if you had to play it on 4, and they bounce it back that could be, yeah, it could be a problem because you want those things on curve. But still at the same time, most blue decks play a little slow. So I think if you slow roll it and you make sure that you get things like Saiyan Instincts to the drop, Rebrand to the drop, I think after a while you would probably pick their hand apart. But I think blue for everyone is probably a big, you know, a big hill to climb. But other than that, I think the deck is fun. I've always loved the deck. There's nothing better than ripping cards out of your opponent's hands. And there's nothing they can really do about it. Cards that do hurt Lord Slug, one drop, Dark Power, Black Mass Saiyan. If you have no way to get rid of it, that's why Demigra's in here. Playing, you know, 15Ks off of a skill, and you having to ditch 2 cards is definitely not the way that you want to go. Blue with Godzilla Technique is rough. I would say aggro, but aggro doesn't really exist right now. I think another card that people might have to think about too is the 2-drop Piccolo Unison. You know, running the counter plays is gonna pop your Lord Slug, it's gonna pop your Anguilla, you know, things like that. It can disrupt your board. But there's plenty of ways. You know, there's enough big bodies in this deck. If you felt like you needed to kill it, you could kill it. So it probably wouldn't be too big of an issue. It just all depends on, you know, playing around it and things like that. But yeah, blue is crippling everybody. So be on the lookout for that. I hope you guys enjoyed the list. I know this is my first video, so I kind of rambled here and there, kind of explaining what the deck does and things like that. But I hope y'all did enjoy. If you have locals, man, and you want to give this list a shot, you know, with some of the upgrades that the deck has, give it a shot. Let me know how it goes. And I hope you enjoy. Make sure if you did like the video, leave a like down below. Comment of what you want to see. I do have about 3 more videos lined up for you guys. So I hope y'all enjoy them, and I will see you guys in the next video.